story, but you should get an idea of the whole ecosystem and how it all works together. So first we have the Statera token pool where you buy and sell Statera, and you can also buy and sell Ether. And then we have the balancer pool, which is an index fund. And then we have the Delta pool, which is where you buy and sell Delta. So these three pools are going to be working together. In the Statera token pool, you have a 50-50 of Ether and Statera. And if you zoom into that, you actually take a Statera and an Ether and you put them together, and deflation happens because you're transferring Statera into that new token. You're minting a new Delta token. And every time you do that, you get deflation. And if you unmint it, if you break it down back into Ether and Statera, you get 1% burn again. So you get burn in, burn out, double deflation happening as you're creating or uncreating Delta tokens. And so what happens is you actually have deflation happening in the Statera token pool. So the supply of Statera is going down with each transaction here. On top of that, this is happening in Uniswap, which means that it's completely secure as opposed to Balancer Pool where they have a gulp exploit in their code right now. And so with that, you have a token, a ERC standard token that is safe, safely deflates in supply, and is also indexed. It's a 50-50 Ether and Statera. So if you hold this token, your Statera and Ether will stay balanced. So it's a way to hold Ether and Statera only while also getting paid fees from Uniswap. The Delta token pool is also in Uniswap, so deflation is safely happening there. So you get double burn with some of the arbitrage that happens in this system, which is really powerful. And then we have the balancer pool where you have the balancing of the index fund, the Phoenix fund. And so this Delta token connects all three of these pools. It is the glue that bonds the system together safely and securely. And if you look at the balancer pool, these are the splits of the percentages of each of them. And if we take an example, let's look at Bitcoin going up in price. That would cause Delta to go up in price because you would sell Bitcoin to buy Delta to rebalance to make sure it's always 40%, which would send up the price of Delta all across the ecosystem. So let's look at what happens when you do that. If Ether is $5 and Statera is $5, then it's $10 for a Delta token. That's the price of a Delta token, half and half. But if Bitcoin goes up in price, pushing up Delta token, let's say it's $12 now, you now have a spread. The 10 and 12 is a spread. There's arbitrage to be done there. If you create a Delta token on your own and you go to the Delta liquidity token pool, you can sell it for $12. So instantly you just make $2 for free. So you do that, or a bot does that and covers that spread. So let's look at an example and see what happens. This is what you're going to see here is what I call price vibrations. So the deflation actually causes vibrations in the price, which causes more arbitrage and more spreads. And that's why we see our pools getting so many fees and servicing so many orders in the ecosystem. So if we take a look at this, the supply of Ether and Statera is going to go down. It's going to go from 100 to 90 as you mint new tokens to sell them for $12, but the market will even out. So the supply of Delta tokens will go up, the supply of Statera and Ether will go down, and the price will even out at about $11. Completely hypothetical. This isn't economically backed. And then what happens though is as you were transferring those Statera and Ethers into new Deltas, they were deflating. And so this supply is actually not 90, it's actually 89, which will then cause the price to go back up because you're lower in supply. But Delta token stays at $11 and at a supply of 110. But now it has to rebalance again because you can unmint a Delta token for more than it's worth. If you have an $11 Delta token, you can unmint it, and the Ether and the Statera are worth $12. So the supply of Delta tokens would go down, and the supply of Ether and Statera would go up, causing the price to balance out at $11.5. But when you had to rebalance that, deflation happened again as you were using Statera, as you were unminting the Delta tokens. So it's not 93, it's 92.4. And with that, you have to rebalance again because there's a price difference. The price has gone up because the supply has gone down. So you can see this ripple effect throughout the system as the deflation almost causes an extra trade for every trade. And so that's why we see more volume happening in our pools, is because this deflation is causing these quote unquote price vibrations. And again, that's helpful for the ecosystem because every single one of those is a order met on an exchange, right? It's helping to facilitate market making and meet meet a buyer with a seller and reduce spreads and reduce slippage. And this whole time it's rebalancing with the Phoenix fund. So as it goes up and down, it's pushing on the pressure of the Delta token and making its price go up and down. And so all of these different pools are vibrating with this price pressure up and down, which actually overall reduces the volatility of your Statera Phoenix fund and your Delta token, because they can constantly rebalance. And so they don't jump up and down as much because Statera itself is jumping up and down so much. It actually levels out the vibration of the larger ecosystem by providing more trades to happen and more volume. And what we see with this is pretty astronomical returns. 38% Statera Phoenix Fund is returning yearly, depending on the daily interest. It's all compounding though, so it's really powerful. If you're getting 0.18 or 0.2 or 0.5 in a day, that compounded over the year is a astronomical number. 38% a year is astronomical for returns on your investment, guaranteed through fees. But again, you never know what the daily vibration will be of this, but we have seen anywhere from 10 to 18% in just 1 month, and so if you compute that out to a year, it's going to be really high. With Uniswap, we see 113% possible yearly ROI based on the daily and the monthly that we're seeing for it. And so with that, I mean, there's going to be competition as other deflationary tokens come in and other arbitrage bots and other ideas come into the ecosystem to facilitate volume. But right now we're providing an astronomical amount of volume, and with that getting an astronomical amount of fees, and we're a first mover. And so hopefully Statera will stay in that leadership position and continue getting those returns. And even if you cut those returns by 90%, you're still creating really high yield over the year to be a holder. And so looking at the benefits, you're increasing that positive price pressure and decreasing the volatility of the overall fund through those price vibrations, which is caused by the deflation. You also have one token access to all of these assets. If you just buy Statera, its price is going to be responsive to the benefits of this whole system. And so you have that one token that you can buy and instantly access all of these pools' price actions. Next, the deflation can be put in any index fund, any balancer pool, or any financial instrument. Now that we have the Delta token, it's safe to put it anywhere, which is really incredible, and we're excited to see what the future holds for where people put deflation. Deflation also rewards loyalty. The longer you hold Statera, if you buy it when the supply is high, the longer you hold and the supply goes down, the price will go up. So it benefits you and rewards you for sticking around. So we really like that part of the ecosystem. Diversification, all of this is tied to other cryptocurrencies, and so Delta and Statera becomes responsive to a diverse portfolio of cryptos. And then lastly, that passive income that, 10, 30, 100% possible ROI if the numbers continue as they have, and we haven't seen any indication that they're coming down anytime soon. But again, you just need to monitor and see what your returns are doing. But so far they've been strong. And to access these, you have the three options. You have Statera itself, which gives you price action of everything. And deflation, you have Delta token, which gives you a 50-50 basically index fund of Ether and Statera, plus the fees that you get from the Uniswap pools. And then Phoenix fund, which actually gives you the Delta fees from the Delta token that's inside of it, the balancer fees from the balancer itself, and then the BAL airdrops, the BAL token, the native balancer token, that it gets airdropped to you for providing volume. With this, with all of these funds, Delta or Phoenix fund, you have impermanent loss from rebalancing, so know that, look it up. It's highly depending on how long you hold and when you buy, when you sell, it can be offset by the fees by quite a bit. Like if the assets go up 500%, you would only see like about a 25% reduction in your returns. But if you're getting 20% a month or 100% a year, that will easily offset a 25% loss in gains because of the impermanent loss. But know that math and know when you're putting in and when you're taking out. And the longer you hold, the more the fees will make up for whatever impermanent loss you do see. But just know that is it's not a completely risk-free choice to hold in an index fund like this, because as you provide liquidity, there's some of that impermanent loss. So with that, we see the overview of the entire Statera ecosystem and the benefits of it. Hope that made a little bit of sense at least. Watch it back in halftime if you want to go a little bit slower with it. Sorry, I want to make it somewhat short.